I always say social media isn't real life, but I want to edit that. I want to edit that sentiment. Social media is an extension of real life, right? Because people will say, oh, that's her or his YouTube character or Facebook persona or TikTok character or whatever. I see it as an extension of how you carry yourself in real life. If you carry on with degenerate behavior online, you're doing that in real life. So the only difference, in my opinion, is that people move with more caution in real life. They do. Matter of fact, that not even just an opinion. This is what they're doing. They are moving with more caution in real life because they know that they would get dragged literally up and down the street, asphalt concrete streets, not social media streets, if they carried on in the ways that they do online. What am I talking about? Doxing people, threatening to put hands and feet on people because they said something that rattled you. You didn't like something someone said, painting narratives about people's family, just lying, period. You know, supporting people who violate and exploit mentally disabled people and children and animals. Yes, that's the behavior that I am speaking of. Now, as a sidebar, I believe in giving people a taste of their own medicine. So if you dox me and my family because you didn't like something that I said, then it's fair game. It's up now. I'm not from the go along to get along tribe. Absolutely not. Nope. You're going to have to bring a lunch. You are going to have to bring a lunch because it's on and popping at that point, you know, since you swung first. And since you chose me to teach you a harsh lesson, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, yeah, I do believe in giving people a taste of their own medicine. Absolutely. Sometimes that's the only people will understand not to ever go there with you again. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And although I'm speaking specifically on internet behavior, it's still an extension of people's behavior and ways of being offline, right? These are people who have dysfunctional relationships with their own family members. You have family members who will report welfare fraud on each other because they fell out over a disagreement. They fell out with each other. So instead of them just staying away from each other, they're willing to take food out of children's mouths because they're angry. There's people out here like that. I've seen it. That's why I use this as an example. I've witnessed it up close. I've witnessed it. That's not a mentally healthy person. Not at all. If you're willing to take food out of a child's mouth because you're angry, something is wrong with you. Period. And these are also the same people who treat their own family members like enemies, right? But will treat strangers, random people outside, and people that they just met online, oh, they'll treat them with the utmost respect. Mentally unhealthy. Because there's no way. That doesn't even make sense, right? And the fact that this behavior has been normalized, it speaks to the number of people who are suffering from poor mental health, who are just strolling here and there with undiagnosed mental illness, strolling and trolling, just strolling and trolling. It speaks volumes. And it tells me that they have been mentally unwell for quite some time. Oh, absolutely, for quite some time. And they may not even know the extent of their mental disorder. Let me say this. What I do respect are people who have sought or seeking the opinions of mental health professionals because they feel that something is off, right? And they want help. They want to change. They don't want to continue on carrying on with degenerate behaviors, acting a fool, just nutting out. They actually acknowledge that something is off and they want help and they want to change. They know they've been nutting out, right? In the streets and online, and so they're fed up with themselves because when you can honestly reflect on your actions and identify where you're lacking, when you can feel embarrassed by your own behavior, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. That's a start. That's a start to you changing and transforming into a better person, right? So shout out to everyone who was proactive about their mental health because we have to work together. First and foremost, we have to coexist on earth together, right? We have to work together. We have to sit in classrooms together. We have to frequent the same spaces, the market, shopping, stores, wherever together. And most importantly, we have to form and maintain relationships with each other because we're not on an island by ourselves. So, shout out to everyone who was proactive about their mental health. You are doing humanity, not only yourself, but humanity a favor. You are part of the change that we all low key really want to see, right? We really all want to do better, I believe. A lot of people just don't know how. It takes a lot of courage and humility to acknowledge, admit, and even disclose that you are mentally unwell, right? That you are mentally unwell or have been diagnosed with mental illness and are being treated. That's a person who practices self awareness. I speak about that a lot too. That's a person who is calculating. That is a person who practices self awareness and also has integrity. Now, does that mean that you're exempt from accountability and responsibility for your behavior? Absolutely not. No, because no one's perfect, right? And each of us have had moments and periods in our lives when we've had poor mental health, when we didn't meet our own standards of what it takes and looks like to be the best versions of ourselves. So, no, none of us are exempt from that. And we all know how it feels to show up in the world not feeling okay. Each and every one of us can attest to that. Not feeling okay sometimes because people are functioning while depressed. And I understand it. I can see it. I can smell it. I can identify when I see it because I have experienced it as well as everyone listening to this at some point. If not now, there will be. Trust me. Um, but you don't stay there. That's my point. You don't want to stay there anyway. You could do what you want, but it's not a good idea to stay in that place. And more importantly, you cannot continue to project your poor mental health onto other people. That's another thing. Stop projecting poor mental health onto other people. Okay? Your mind belongs to you. This is your mind and it's your job to manage it. And this is why the majority of people are still looking for leaders, right? Because they're looking for someone to manage everything about them, including their mind. It is what it is. Speaking of leaders, when you have people who claim they love each other or that they're cool with each other, falling out over political differences and opinions, that's sad. That is sad. Oh my goodness. I'm still seeing it. I can't believe this is still a thing, but it is. People going out sad, not just over politics in general, but I brought that up as yet another example of behaviors stemming from poor mental health. How can you claim to love someone, be cool with them, but because you both have different political stances and opinions, now you're falling out, you're angry? That is insanity, But because people need a leader so bad that they are willing to choose anger and fall out with someone that they claim they love. That is insanity at its finest to me. That makes absolute if it doesn't make sense to me, that's crazy, right? And I understand why this is the case. People are addicted to dysfunction, right? It's familiar, it's comfortable. I mean, anytime you can pathologically lie and stand on it, even in the face of irrefutable evidence. I mean, if you could pathologically lie, stand on it with the evidence right there. That's a mental disorder. I don't care what nobody say. Something is wrong with you. Something is wrong. Seek help. I mean, I didn't even know that level of audacity existed. Pathologically lie, stand on it while the evidence is right there. Irrefutable evidence. But that's what's going on out here. I'm laughing at it because I can. I'm not a pathological liar. So yeah, I'm gonna laugh at it. Yes, it's a mental disorder, and I'm gonna laugh at it. Especially when people use that as a weapon on me and my loved ones, right? But dysfunction is their normal. I get it. It's a part of their daily routine, just like grabbing a coffee, taking a shower, brushing their teeth. Dysfunction is right in that lineup. Dysfunction is right along in that lineup. This is why Zeus Network does so well, particularly with the Baddie show. I know there's other shows on that network or whatever, particularly speaking about baddies, right? where you have women competing to embarrass themselves in front of millions of people for clout and cash. That is dysfunction and mental illness at its finest. You can slice it and dice it and charge it to entertainment all you want. This is dysfunction and mental illness. We gonna call a thing, where women are signing up to humiliate themselves, because that essentially that's what's going on, right? And a lot of people, clearly, because numbers don't lie, a lot of people are tuned into it because they can relate, right? We're dealing with social engineers that are high level opportunists. This is why I'm bringing up Zeus Network and baddies, right? These are high level social engineers who are opportunists, who own media outlets, who are extremely calculating. People crying over people being calculated. Oh, she's calculating. He's an opportunist. Please, people don't know the half. Man, hold up. Scratch that. People don't know an eighth of what's really going on. That's child's play. She's an opportunist. He's a calculating. Where you have these high level social engineers playing in your face with these shows, this Zeus Network and shows like Baddies, where women are showing up, young women at that, showing young melanated women at that, most of them, showing up, signing up to embarrass themselves in front of millions of people. Please. People don't know the half. That's child's play. He's an opportunist. She's calculating an opportunist. Why you think it's easy for people to watch and support mentally and physically disabled people and children be violated? Because they're already used to, they've already been hypnotized, so to speak, to dysfunction and degeneracy. Why you think it's so easy for them to support and watch and exploit people of that demographic? So people don't know an eighth of what's really going on right under their noses and right before their eyes, right? By true to the game, calculating opportunists, spinning circles around the masses daily, tapped all up in your mind and your spirit, already just massaging your mind, just having their way with it. If people say they'll charge it again to entertainment, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. This is why people are degenerate. A lot of people are hooked on their degenerate ways and they don't even want to change it, right? And these high level social engineers, they're using dysfunctional and mentally unwell people to push dysfunction. Now that's calculating to me. It don't get no more calculating and opportunistic than that. It don't get no more. But again, people worried about the wrong shit as usual, right? We're dealing with social engineers, aka scientists, that study, keywords, study how to exploit the masses of people, how to play on poor mental health, right? How to appeal to people's dark sides, how to keep people locked in and entranced in a lowly state of mind and crave for more. It don't get no more calculating than that, you know? And what's that verse? Ephesians 6:12. That Bible verse, it says spiritual wickedness in high places. What do you think the high places are that verse is referring to? You know, I'm non-denominational. I don't subscribe to any religion, but because I love reading and I'm a truth teller and a truth seeker and a spiritualist, the Bible is one of the books I read because there's so much wisdom here. That verse alone is letting us know what's going on here, right? And so that tells us everything that we need to know. Degeneracy and dysfunction sells. Poor mental health is their goal to make their way to your soul. Ooh, hold up. Poor mental health is their goal to make their way, to snake their way to your goal, to your soul. One more time. Poor mental health is their goal to snake their way to your soul. Bars. Because that's exactly what's going on. This is spiritual warfare. And banking on your poor mental health, that is the medium to your soul, because that's a part of holistic health, not just your physical, but you're mental and spiritual as well. So this is difficult for people to digest. I do understand that. I get it. The topic of mental health and all of the moving parts and such, because playing victim is easier. It's easy for people to play victim. Being degenerate is easy. Being nasty and having filthy, dirty, underhanded ways, that's easy. And also, there's a lot of hoping and waiting for someone or something to rescue people from themselves. So this is why this is a topic that may be difficult for a lot of people to digest. All of that is easier. Trying to get other people to carry your bags full of trauma, misery, anger, resentment, bitterness, all of that is easy. You don't really have to put in any work, but just stand there and cry and play victim. Some people actually try to use their poor mental health as an excuse to be out here doing fuck shit. So all of that's easy. It's hard to stand 10 toes down firmly and decide. Well, that's the easy part, deciding that you want to do better, but actually putting in the work to be better, to do better, and have better. That's the challenge for a lot of people, because now you're taking the narrow path and not the broader path that most people are taking, right? And let me say this, I quickly found out that people don't care about your mental health. They just don't. I found out that they don't care, and why. People don't care because they simply don't have to, right? Everyone is selfish. I spoke about this in a previous video, briefly touched on it. Everyone is selfish and has their own agenda, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. Everyone has their own agenda. This is why the first law of nature is self-preservation. That's where that law comes in at. Everyone's an opportunist and calculating. Whether people want to admit it or not, a lot of people don't know that's what it is. They just get caught up with how the word feels and regurgitating what other people said, right? People don't care what you're going through, because caring, that's expending energy, right? So you're essentially asking people to stop what they're doing and consider your thoughts and feelings that do not have an immediate and direct effect on them. Think about that for a minute. Let me take a sip of my tea here. One moment. Um, so a lot of times we get caught up in people not caring about our life circumstances and what we're going through or have gone through. When the truth is that those same people you expect to care and understand, they don't care enough about their own mental health, their own life circumstances. They don't care. So you're asking for people to do for you what they cannot do for themselves. One more time. You are asking for people to do for you what they cannot do for themselves, which is take their lives by the reins and ride that mother until the wheels fall off. Because that's really what this thing is about, taking life by the reins and riding it and knowing how to deal with the good, bad, and the ugly like a G. That's what sovereignty is. That's what's taking responsibility for your own mind and for your own life, right? So when I discovered this truth, which I believe is a matter of life or death, right? That people don't care and why they don't care. That's when I became a self help junkie, so to speak, right? And because I'm human, like everyone else with my own traits and hangups and emotions, I still have to remind myself of this life saving truth, so that I won't be constantly disappointed and constantly heartbroken and all of that unnecessary emotional nonsense fodder for someone else's advantage. I have to remind myself of that truth so that I don't experience that, because it's unnecessary. I know the truth now. And all of that can be avoided by accepting this truth, right? So even with, all the books and therapy and courses, those are just tools, really. Those are just tools, good tools at that, but that's not the end all be all. You really have to make a decision to change. You really have to sit with yourself and decide that you want better for yourself, right? And it sounds simple, but it's easier said than done. Clearly, clearly. All you got to do is look around. Clearly, that's easier said than done. And you're going to backslide. You are going to backslide. Just get up, dust yourself off, try it again, and keep going. Again, easier said than done, but it can be done. It can. So I think that because of all of that, people refuse to seek help, whether it's personally or professionally, for their mental disorders, because there still may be a stigma attached to it, right? I'm sure there is. People may be afraid that they'll be viewed as deficient, you know? Um, they just may feel like an outcast or of sorts. Religion also plays a part too, right? Because you have a lot of people from families who are ultra religious, extremely traditional, where everything can be solved solely by Jesus taking the will. You know, one of those type of families. So this is what a lot of people are dealing with too. Got to take that into account. So those people may not find value in seeking help outside of their religious cultural norm. So that's something else to consider. Um, Also, again, there may be a fear of being ostracized from the family unit, you know, for seeking ways to improve the mental health outside of what they consider traditional ways of doing so. And another one, a major one, in fact, fear of the unknown, right? Because once you know something, you can't unknow it. You can sweep it under the rug, but you know it's there. And that's why people run from the objective truth, their personal truth, someone else's truth, period. Because they don't want the responsibility of knowing. Because once you know a thing, you are now fully responsible for it and for yourself. Um, so I'm going to leave it there, but I want to throw a question out there for you all that are listening. What do you want to be remembered for in this life? What do you want to be remembered for? As you reflect on everything in this video, everything I mentioned, what do you want to be remembered for? Not for your accomplishments on paper per se, but your essence, who you are as a human being. What do you want to be remembered for? And with that, don't forget to like the video, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, peace.